Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host of the Leader Podcast. Today, I have another great guest for you, my new good friend, Barb. She's based in Scotland, beautiful tropical Aberdeen. It's so hot right now. She has the AC to the max. She's sitting in an ice bath because it's so hot, you know. And she's originally from former Czechoslovakia, now Czech Republic. And yeah, she's doing a lot of great things. She works as a therapist, and she's also a hypnotherapist, NLP. She works with a client, getting a client, help them to overcome trauma, and she's what she's a specialist about. So it's going to be a great conversation. I'm excited, and I can't wait to get started. So, Barb, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Lorenzo, for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. So, for people who don't know you, we're going to talk about your business and all that good stuff in a moment, but tell us, who's Barb as a person, as a woman, and as a human being?
Okay, so I am drama therapist, but I'm also farmer's wife, living on the farm with my husband and tending for the herd of the cattle. And I'm foreigner in country when I'm living. As you said, I am from Czech Republic originally, grew up during Communism era. So I'm kind of multifaceted person. So interested in many different things. But mine is my main hobby and interests all my life. But I was also specialist in changes in companies, work as interim director and work as business analyst. So
Yes. Okay. Thank you for that. We're going to explore all of that. First of all, I'd like to start with asking you a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know you as a person. Ready?
ready.
All right. What makes you happy?
My family.
What makes you smile?
My dogs when they are making crazy.
How many dogs?
Running.
How many dogs do you have?
I have two dogs. One is very little toy poodle and one is border collie. And both, when they interact with each other, it's so funny.
I know, like entertainment, live entertainment, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, never ending.
Good, good, good. What makes you come alive?
Oh, when I see how people changing, I'm really enjoying to helping people to change their life. And that's so fulfilling and make me really feel energized to see how lives people are changing in front of my eyes.
Absolutely. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, what makes you sad and angry?
Sad and angry I am that people still believe and are convinced and often still told by many people that they cannot recover from trauma, that they have to manage their conditions or learn to live with that. And that's just purely not truth. And that's make me really sad if people still living in that belief and instead of getting better, they suffer with pain and anger and panic attacks and nightmares.
I'm with you. What scares you?
Fanatism.
Yes, yes. Absolutely. Anything that ends with ism is not a good thing.
Yeah.
Communism, fanatism, extremism, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That really scares me. I grew up in country where was suppressed free opinions, and it really scares me when I see anywhere in the world of people getting to these high polarities of opinions, because we all are individuals, we all have our own stories, own background, and we should try to be together and build up something, not to trying to tear each other down.
Uniting, not dividing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you say is your number one personal superpower?
Seeing patterns in behaviors of other people. So I can see from their behaviors, even from their way, how they wording things, what they need to change.
What is one thing that you used to value that you don't value anymore?
Position in corporate world.
Mm,
I used to try to be, somebody in the corporate world, and it's not have any value for me anymore.
absolutely. What is one thing that you did not value before, but now you're valuing more and more?
Free time.
Mm, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. What would you say are your three non-negotiable core values?
Honesty, compassion, and generosity.
Oh, yes, love that. You like traveling, do you?
Yeah, I do love traveling. Yeah.
So do I. We can do an entire episode on traveling, but we'll do that another time. For now, I'd like to take you down a different type of traveling, down memory line. Go back to when you
Mhm.
were growing up as a little girl. You know, when we're kids, people around us, family, relatives, neighbors, teachers, friends always ask us, "Hey, Barb, what do you want to become when you grow up?" What was your answer to that as a little girl?
Hmm. That was changing over time, but probably in that time it was landscape architect, garden architect, and I actually become that. But
Wow.
then I changed my profession.
What was the very first thing you wanted to do as a little girl?
That my mom will be healthy. I actually didn't think about myself as
Oh,
child, as many people who grew up in childhood trauma. My life was very focused on others, on that situation I grew up in. So, truth be told, I cannot really say what I wanted as a child. I really wanted my mom healthy, my
mm,
father home, and better relationship in family.
beautiful. Growing up, what was your relationship with school? Did you love school or did you hate school?
Actually, love school. I was very lucky, and I have the good teachers, and I did love school. And it was escape also. I was good in it, so yeah, I did enjoy it.
What was your favorite subject?
uh, that's hard to say. I actually love everything.
What was your favorite?
Yeah, I loved everything. Probably
Uh,
biology was the most
you
favorite
like
subject.
dissecting the frog?
Yeah, yeah. I always try to understand that what is under the skin of anything, but
Yeah.
in the plant worlds, in the animal worlds, and human world. So yeah, biology is a lot about understanding how it's actually working. So that's I really enjoy to learn about it.
Beautiful. What was one subject you couldn't stand?
Social studies.
Why?
Because in the time we had to learn about communism mainly, and I grew up in a family of dissidents, so my opinion wasn't aligned with the teacher's opinion.
So did your parents or family tell you to be quiet, don't share your ideas in school so as to not to get in trouble?
Quite opposite. We were actually told like, no, if you are complacent, if you not saying your opinion, then you supporting it. So like, be quiet. It's silent yes. So no, we actually was out loud speaking that we don't agree with that.
And what were the teachers' reaction, the people at school, the management?
They wasn't happy about that. Often find some way of how to persecute us. Some level of punishment, or not get recognized and not get rewards, or uh yeah, it's always something was found.
Yeah, it's sad, really. Imagine if you were in the same class in grade 10 or 11. What kind of student and girl were you? Were you the shy one, the quiet one, the nerd one, the chatterbox, the superstar? What kind of student were you back then?
um I was probably the one who helping others to get better in their in their grades. Yeah, I was little teacher already in that time.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Were you popular with the boys?
No, no, but I think that it was part of it, that, my opinion was so different, and I was taught to tell them out that And also I was told not to have anything with the boys, that it's not appropriate. So, yeah, kind of kept distance.
Mm.
And
What was your very first job? And do you remember how much you get paid the first time in your life that you worked?
my first job was helping cleaning the parks in the Prague.
Wow.
And it was my weekend's job. And I was getting paid, I don't know, something what will be probably equivalent of the minimum wage now. I
Mm.
think it was about 14 crowns per hour, something like that. That's
How much
kind.
is that? In dollars?
Uh, it would be probably half of dollar
Really? Holy wow. And that was per hour?
per, per hour. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Now, let's move forward. How would you describe your path from the moment you left school to now? Would you say it was pretty much straightforward? Once you're into one lane, you were set for life?
Oh, no.
Was it more like turns and twists, like a roller coaster?
Yeah, roller coaster. Definitely, I would describe it as like a raft on the white water. You have these moments when you're going slightly calmer on some edges, and then it's very unexpectedly white water. So yeah, I was moving even between industries because, as I said, I like so many different ways of understanding things. So I work in IT, in marketing, in product design, in interim management for bankruptcy, companies. He would be on the edge of bankrupt. So yeah, very wide and changing, and usually hired for fixing something
Mm.
for a year to make something different, bring some new ideas or that. So no, it was very unexpected up and downs, but mostly up, I would say, but very dynamic career.
Mm. When did you leave former Czechoslovakia, now Czech Republic?
I came to Scotland 2015 to join my current husband.
Mm.
And then I took kind of, I would say, career break from corporate world and work as a carer and care for people with Alzheimer and people in palliative care. And that kind of gave me that time to figure out like what I really want to do and start doing it. So I'm now doing what I really want to do, which is helping people to recover from trauma.
Wow. So you grew up under communism.
Yes.
So describe to us life under communism.
Huh. So I think communism is that you don't have choices so much. It's very little things in the shops, sometimes almost nothing on the shelves. So very often you're not going completely hungry, but you just going with what is there, very limited. So there will be queues on
Mm.
fruit, there will be one type of one type of everything. You have no choice like what you want, and often there wasn't meat, wasn't ham. We would have what we call substitute meat from like cut-offs and stuff like that.
Wow.
um, we would probably in our family we would have meat once or twice per week for a meal, otherwise we'll be vegetarian because it's just what is available. So for us, common meal will be pasta with the sugar, like just pasta and something, on it, not sauce or anything, just spoon of sugar on it. That's your supper. So
Wow.
we were lucky that we managed to get allotment. So we're growing our own vegetables. And mom was sewing us the clothes, so we have something different than it's in shops, because again in shops it's like one type of thing, most of people looking same, or that image is that you shouldn't stand out, but of course then, as in every regime, there would be power pressure, so there was stuff from the west coming to special shops, and those who are privileged would get special bones, as we call it, to get stuff from the West, and created even more division between people. So yeah, not easy. We, for example, wasn't allowed to move from living in the third floor flat, what would be counted as 1-bedroom flat. We were 3 siblings and parents, and we wasn't allowed to move. Even my mom really physically struggled after accident and was literally crawling on the stairs to get in and out, sometimes didn't manage. And because our house was under surveillance of secret police and they didn't want us to move anywhere else, to lost that ability to track us.
Wow. So you mentioned the stores. Did you have to pay for things, or were they provided for free by the regime?
No, you have to pay for them. You have to pay for them, but it's very limited. It's dictated by a regime how much you will earn. So some people would be okay and rich, and some people will be very poor. So we end up with that very poor things, because even my father was very worldwide known scientist in that time. He wasn't allowed to make money and was sent to work in incineration of the rubbish in some time, until they allow him to work on inventions again, but under very strict regulations and with very small salary. So
As I told you last time when we spoke, I was born in Afghanistan. I grew up in Afghanistan, just like you. Communism destroyed the country of my parents. I was too young to remember anything, but my parents told me that and my relatives, that under communism, they were receiving coupons, and they had to go to the store. You were allowed to get like 1 bottle of cooking oil, 1 bag of rice per month, and a certain amount of meat. Everything was rationed. You had to wait in line, and you get those coupons, almost like those bank checks,
yeah.
with the coupons. And you go, you redeem, you exchange those against whatever product. Was it the same in former Czechoslovakia under communism?
What I remember from what my parents told me, it was like that in the after war, like in the time when it was taking over. But when I was there, we didn't have that food coupons. But there was time in that then it was like that. But when I was there, we pay for things. But as I said, like sometimes they would make propaganda videos, and they would fill up shops with the stuff when it was some big, like 1st May celebration, which was very often near to us where we're living. When we lived, and people would say, "Oh, you have everything here in Prague. Your shops are full." And it's like, this is like 3 hours when the shops are full, and then tomorrow will be empty again. It was like very often made up. How it look like or what is available, but it wasn't. So for example, my father was allergic on many fabrics, and the only thing that he could have was cotton. And mom would spend like days of walking shop to shop, like whole Prague, and Prague is like living almost 3 million people there, to find in some shops that they would have the cotton underwear, so he can even wear clothes, because every shop had the same thing. And just you have to really go and try to find. And of course there was a lot of black market, under counter things, shops. But some people was nice. And for example, when I was very little and was sent to shop, because both my parents was ill in that time, and that I was saying the queue. I was about 5 years old, and butcher gave me some meat. As 5 years old, I have no idea what I told what if I can get. And the lady behind me looked on the butcher and said, like, "No, give her proper meat. Both her parents are ill. Don't cheat on child, just because she's little." So there was people who were trying to do good and help each other, but not easy life.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that communism is dead, at least in now in Czech Republic. I hope that
Yeah.
one of my dreams to see communism dead for good from our planet once and for all, because it destroyed the country of my parents, your country, the place I used to call home in 2019, Hong Kong, and even my country of citizenship, Canada, is becoming completely communist because we have a communist clown. Justin Trudeau is it's not a secret anymore, is the son of Fidel Castro. So he's been selling out the country to the Chinese, to the CCP. And now also Canada is becoming, you have very little freedom left in Canada anymore. That's one of the reasons I left. So that's one of my dreams, to see the world free of not only communism, but anything that ends with ism. Yeah, as we say,
Yeah, yeah,
we can have a world that is united and not divided.
absolutely. Yeah. And unfortunately, that misuse of ideology is that because communism in principle is like everybody should have education, access to the work, access to the housing. That's not bad idea of, but it's about how people trying again get to power and control other people, and that's causing a lot of trauma. And but it's starting in families, is it? It's not. It would not happen to the nations if it will not start in families where a lot of people apply this, way of be controlling and trying to have power over others instead of be supportive and cooperative.
Yeah. The problem with communism is that it only works in theory. And just like I said, the greed gets to people, and the people that get in power, they want to get more for them. And that's when everything starts to collapse. And you see people struggling while others are living in lavish lifestyle. The people at the top, not aware, they're completely disconnected from the reality of the people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, let's move forward. So, there's a saying that says, change your story, change your life. When you, Barb, you were at some of your lowest, darkest, most challenging periods of your life, how did you change your story internally inside your head to change your reality externally?
Oh, the lowest moment in my life was when I was 17 years old and I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, ME, as now, and I was in tremendous pain and I was bedridden. I was unable to get out of bed. My daily achievement was get to the toilet. I was extremely tired and extremely pain everywhere. And I was told by the doctors in that time, very new diagnosis, describe that they have no idea what to do with that. And then I have to learn, live with that. And then came that change because I said, like, that's not possible. I'm not accepting this. I used to be athlete and representing even Republic. And I said, like, this cannot be my life. There has to be some way to change that. And I start searching, and what I found was Silva method of control mind. And I really start understanding that connection between mind and body. And in 6 months, I managed through the work on mind to get from chronic fatigue syndrome free of pain, free of tiredness, and graduate and start working, and my life move forward. So that was absolutely, like completely changing direction in my life and way of understanding and applying things in my life.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for sharing it. Now, let's talk about your business, your impact. How are you making the world a better place around you and around the world?
No, as I saying, the making the world better 1% in the time. And in my case, it's clients I'm working with, but also I really love to work with other therapists and coaches and helping them to be able to help people to full recovery from trauma. And that's creating that ripple effect, is it? Because if I train the one therapist and they will help other hundreds people. So that's really what I love about that. And all who come through my program and become trauma recovery specialist, they really have these amazing results of helping people, and their testimonials are amazing and growing. So that's my impact on the world.
Beautiful, beautiful. Who's your ideal client?
My ideal clients are therapists or coaches who train in one or two modalities and would really want to make more impact and feel confident and empowered toward people with complex trauma. And it could be people who have anger issues or have PTSD or complex PTSD. We now know that much more people have complex PTSD than people would expecting. And really know not just how it's created, why it's created, what everything needs to happen to get people to the full recovery, what are stages of recovery, and many more, because the most of modalities working from one side of recovery and often are limited, that are not getting people over that final line to get fully present and fully reconnected inside. So because I went learning practically all modalities which are on the market, I kind of, over that 30 years, I put together this program helping people really make that connections and understand from all angles what needs to happen and give them tools and strategies to do that.
Wow. How long is your program?
My program takes the 9 weeks, and as many saying it's about equivalent of the 4 years of learning. It's very intense. It's very intense. It's very comprehensive and a unique way put together, but it's intensive 9 weeks course.
Share with us an example of some of the most remarkable transformation you've seen from one of your clients.
I think probably one of the biggest transformations is people with disassociation, which were very often by many professionals told that they cannot be helped. So I had a client who suffered with disassociation or losing the hours and sometimes days of their life, wasn't able to take care of her daughter. And when she would coming back, she would not remember what time and day or year even is, because in her mind she was jumping to the different time period of her life. And when I do my program, trauma responsive programming with her, then it's completely stopped. It's she was after 1 month was absolutely out of disassociation, fully present for her daughter and her husband, and just okay, be really here and not dealing with her past trauma.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you. What is a cause that is dear to your heart?
No, what is dear to my heart is childhood trauma, and it's because so many people, even they don't recognize it, suffer with a childhood trauma, because it's much more than just these obvious signs of physical abuse or sexual abuse, but a lot of children growing up with emotionally immature parents, or with which are own victims of trauma, or with people with narcissistic traits or behaviors, people with using alcohol or drugs, growing up in poverty, divorce, bereavement, too much expectation, no expectation, single moms, single fathers. There is like so many sources for childhood trauma, and it's very underestimated. And children normalize it. They learn to suppress their emotions, their identities, and then they passing it on their children, because when they have children, they very often get very triggered. They would get angry, or they would get distant, or they would have postnatal depression, or they would become workaholics because they just cannot cope with that. Be good parents because they didn't have the good parents, or their needs wasn't fulfilled. Many parents trying their best, but still not have the capability to fulfill the needs of children, because they just don't know how. because they didn't have it. So for me, it was lesson I learned by myself with my son, that what everything I need to do differently than it happened for me.
How are you getting your clients?
So most of my clients I'm getting from referrals, from my podcast, or from my Facebook. I'm doing a lot of masterminds, free masterminds for people to learn and maybe recognize that they suffer with trauma. So yeah, and everybody can find me on different hypnotherapy directories, but mainly from my Facebook page.
Cool. You mentioned your podcast. How are you leveraging your podcast to get business and to get clients?
Uh, my podcast, it's on many media, so it's spreading on, and I know that people listening on it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, and people would contact me from that if they related to something what we speak about in the podcast. I have always, quite often, the guests, which are fellow therapists or coaches or people who recover from trauma, so they can share their story. And I think that people see what is possible for themselves, but also other therapists, for realizing that there is maybe a little more to what it can be done for people than they maybe do in that moment, or want to feel more confident and achieving the same results.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Now, let's wrap things up. And to finish, I'd like to ask you a series of rapid fire questions. This
Okay.
time on advices. Ready?
Ready?
All right. What's the best piece of advice you've received so far in your life?
You are not responsible for other people's feelings.
Oh, I love that. Please repeat it again.
You are not responsible for others people's feelings.
I love that. Actually, I'm going to make this as a quote. Absolutely. So beautiful. You are not responsible for other people's feelings. Love that. I collect quotes, and this is one of the quotes I will be collecting. I will add your name beside it as a source. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, you're welcome. What's the worst piece of advice you received so far?
You need to work harder.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Agree.
It should flow. It shouldn't be work hard. I'm not saying that people not need to work hard, but often when we need to work harder, that doesn't mean that it's usually that we pushing against something which it's not flowing. And I learned it hard way that, if it's about like, oh, you need to put more in it, more, it's not working. It has to put energy to it, work on it, but it has to flow. It has to fit feeling that it's bringing you something back, joy or purpose. And some days I would work long hours. It's not that I would not work hard, but there has to be that joy, that feeling that you are tired, but your day was purposeful.
Love that. Imagine you were blessed with a time machine and you can go back in time and sit face to face with the 18-year-old Barb. What's the number one piece of advice you would give to her knowing all that you know now?
Stop being people pleaser.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
wish.
would tell my young self to choose for herself and
Absolutely.
going after what she wants.
Same here. Same here. I used to be a big time people pleaser because I grew up in a place where it was all about other people. We had to suppress our needs, all for others. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You do have a podcast. Imagine your podcast is very successful, and today you have a very special guest, and that guest is yourself. You're interviewing yourself. What's the first question that comes to mind that you want to ask yourself? Don't think too much. First question that comes to mind.
For who you will wake up in the 1 o'clock in the night to help?
And what's your answer?
For anybody who suffer.
Love that. Love that. The last question that I ask, and that's my favorite question to ask, and that is, what is the smallest thing you've done? And by small, I don't mean something small. I mean the one thing that has had the deepest, most profound, the greatest impact on both your life and your business. For example, for me, it's been starting my podcast. What about you,
Mhm.
Barb?
I think the smallest thing I did, which has biggest impact, is the helping other therapists for free for quite a long time and still doing to just help them to be better therapists, and that's helping others, and also it's bringing me clients through referrals. But yeah, that's probably the biggest thing.
Love that. If someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
The best way, it's on the Facebook. You can find me on the Barb Smith Varclova, or on my website, your-steps.co.uk.
Okay, perfect. Listen, I'm going to put this in the show notes. Listen, Barb, amazing. Thank you for sharing your story. I salute you. You truly do with a heart. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world with your presence, your impact, your story, your voice, your gifts. Stay safe, stay awesome. God bless you, and stay warm. And talk to you very soon. Take care, my friend. Have a fantabulous Friday, fantabulous weekend, and fantabulous month of July. Take care, my friend.
Thank you, Lorenzo. It was
You're
great.
welcome. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.